Hey folks, Small Designs here. This is part 2 of the Hasegawa 1/8 scale CF-18 Hornet model build. Now for those who are wondering why there's two models on the desk here, if you go back to part 1 it explains it, but I am building two models at once, both the single seat version and the two-seat version of the plane. So it looks a little chaotic all over my desk, but it really isn't, organized chaos there. But we're going to get into, what's going on here. So usually when you see the instruction booklet flipped open, it's a sign of what did I do differently than what the instruction booklet is, telling you to do. Well, what I've done differently is I installed this side piece before this part of the instructions. So what the instructions calls for is once you put the top half and the bottom half together, you install the side piece. Well, what I find is, and this is after dry fitting, because I didn't want to, put glue onto it and then realize later that, it doesn't fit. I always dry fit my parts first. But what I found is it's very hard to glue this piece on once, this and this is put together. Because the glue, where these pieces fit, like there's your lines. Now, a little bit of sanding is still needing to be done, but I didn't want glue seeping through those lines, especially because all these lines right here are recessed. I didn't want to have, me sanding all this away. It's easier to have the glue. I'm going to see if the light will hit it. See all the glue in there? It's easier to have that on the inside than try to do it on the outside. And once you have, this on top of this, there's nowhere for you to put the glue. You can kind of get it, around the edges, but the risk of you getting it all over your wings or all over these parts is really high. I didn't want to do that. I thought, you know what, it's better to do it now, and then when you put the parts over top, it'll fit in a lot better. And I do have my one right here. This is not glued, this is just dry fitted, just to prove to you that it can go in. So the only places where you're going to need to put glue is right on that seam line right where it joins. And for the most part, parts are going to be going over top of that, so you're not even going to see it. See how it joins? So I found that was a lot easier to do. It's up to you what you want to do, but for me that's a lot nicer. And it makes this piece here, this bottom piece, a lot more structurally sound to work with. It was pretty flimsy without, these two side pieces in there. And then other things I've been working on is this piece right here, because our Canadian Hornets have these searchlights or spotlights for identifying aircraft. So that's one thing you have to drill out. And you kind of got to get them right. They are kind of pre-drilled, I guess you can say. There's just a thin layer of plastic over top, but you just want to get that centered right. Actually, the box art shows it right there. That's what we're looking at right there. So things like that I've been working on, and of course, these two pieces here, glued that. Just getting, some of the parts ready, and of course right here, the leading edges of the wings. So getting that nice sanded and smoothed, getting that seam line taken out. And then of course, whatever I do in this plane, I do on this plane. Now I did order, and it's on its way, another one of these kits, because in part 1 I told you I wanted to get, basically taking the tail out of this kit onto this, to put onto this one, or I guess it would be this one. And then of course I'll just switch parts, and then I'll make another Hornet out of the box. That way I'm not losing a kit. But if you go back to part 1, I explained it there. So basically that's all I wanted to cover in this video. I didn't want to go too far, but I found it a lot easier to get glue into here and to put this part in now before marrying those two parts together. So it's really up to you what you want to do. But again, I found it a lot easier to get it in now. And then this is nice and firm in there. It's up to you what you want to do. So thanks so much for watching. Probably not the most exciting video on this part of the build, but when you're dealing with structures of the plane, You know, it's pretty important, at least in my books. So there we go. So thanks so much for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I look forward to your comments. Thanks, guys.